So the Mecklenburg and ranked doesn't seem like the best option now, does it? But the Mecklenburg really does excel at punishing broadsides, and in ranked, a lot of times you can find broadsides. People trying to get into position, trying to flank early, and a Mecklenburg can do some serious damage in ranked. Nearly one shot in the Austin, first salvo. Of course, the Mecklenburg is a German battleship with 16 smaller caliber guns, but the dispersion's pretty decent. So we lack overmatch, we lack in HP as well, but against broadsides, I would way rather have a Mecklenburg than any other German battleship, I gotta say. Because that Austin got slapped, but yeah, that Moskva's done for. So 2 salvos, 75k damage. Pretty good start to a ranked battle, don't you think? Unfortunately for us, though, our Shimakaze does die. They were probably broadside trying to finish off our Shimakaze, so I guess there was a bit of a trade-off there. But at least we managed to do something in exchange for losing our Shimakaze. Good 14k salvo into the Ohio there, and pretty good range too. That's the nice thing about this Mecklenburg, is just the consistency of these guns against broadsides. It's not going to Citadel battleships all that often because it's a lower caliber, so I'm aiming up more into the upper belts, and the damage has been reasonable. Of course, survivability is where we're going to be lacking. Compared to a GK or a Preussen, we're just strictly missing out on HP. But we're going to push out anyway and hopefully try and win this game. We've lost both our DDs at this point, and what do you do when you've lost your DDs and you don't really have anything to do with the cap zones yet? We got to play aggressive, right? So we're going to push in. We're going to try and deal with this enemy Mecklenburg. I do have a Des Moines and a Zal with me, so we can kill this Mecklenburg quite quickly if we're able to isolate the fight. So I just stop, right? I'm just going to stop here. I'm worried about the Grozavoy torpedoes coming by across my bow. Of course, we don't have a hydro, so I have to be paying attention to where we think torps are going to be coming from. And then, of course, the Ohio down in the south there. I'm trying to put the island in between myself and him. And just like that, we're already up to 130k. It's good at dealing damage. It certainly is. I'm waiting for this Austin to potentially come out too. Trying to keep an eye on that to maybe finish him off. And, you know, the Mecklenburg is going to go broadside to try and get behind this island, and we should slap him again. I'm getting a little lucky that he's not going after me, of course, but to be fair, there is a broadside cruiser right behind me. I can understand the appeal of shooting at him. So unfortunately, the Mecklenburg lives a little bit longer, but we don't take much damage here, and a little while later, the Austin just pulls out flat broadside. And yeah, that's going to be a dead Austin, for sure. He probably torped at us, so I'm just going to reverse behind this island, making sure I don't eat any unnecessary torpedoes. So now that we've traded out a few kills, it's time to get in the cap zones and worry about those points. We're noticing that we're spotted, there's torpedoes coming from behind us, so the enemy Shimakaze is in our spawn, the enemy Grozavoy is in their spawn. So we know the cap zones are basically open. There's an Ohio, of course, but against an Ohio in a close range brawl, I think Mecklenburg really does have the advantage simply because of the torpedoes. This Ohio might try and kite away, turn away, or he might just turn in and try and go for the ram to trade the kill out. Either way, I think we're in a pretty good spot since I have a Des Moines just helping me out with this damage, right? I only get one Citadel, but it's small caliber guns. I can't really expect too many Citadels against an Ohio or other battleships, even at closer ranges. But it is enough damage to force this Ohio to angle to me, giving the Des Moines a nice broadside and hopefully some decent damage there. Of course, since Mecklenburg's a special ship, I'm running Luchins. I'm getting some secondary value here as well. At least on this ship, the secondaries do pen 32mm base, so we don't really have to spec into the secondaries too much, and we still get some pretty solid value. I didn't take a lot of damage there, getting a little bit lucky with either where the Ohio's aiming or the Ohio's just not getting the best RNG into my belt. Of course, the Turtleback is so useful for not taking Citadels, but tends to take a lot of full pens, and usually it means that I eat more damage than it showed in this game. Unfortunately, Des Moines gets traded out, so I have to be conscious of a Shimakaze in the north. But I know I have enough time here to cap C, and I'm just hopeful that Yeah, the Zhao is going to take out the Grozaway. At this point, we can see based on the score timer mod, it's a very useful mod if you don't have it. At the top there, we can see the enemy team based on the current caps and points. They're going to win in 5 minutes. So I need to get into the B cap. The interesting thing will be, once we've captured the B cap, are we going to be winning by the time the game ends, or do I have to find my way into the A cap? That's going to be tricky. Of course, Shimakaze in open water is always a scary threat, even though this guy's on 20-kilometer torps, so, you know, they're spotted from the moon. It's not too big a deal. Certainly not as big a deal as the 12 or 8-kilometer torpedoes, but still scary in open water in a ship without hydro. Notice that our Zhao popped hydro and is playing. That generally happens when somebody gets spotted by an unknown destroyer. So, again, I was assuming that he got spotted by the Shima, which I was taking to mean the Shima was in the gap. He actually pushed out of that gap between B and C, so I push aggressively to try and catch up with him. And we do a decent amount of damage. Unfortunately, 10 HE full pens is only 9,000 damage. Must be some saturation there. Maybe I would have been better off with the armor piercing. So we don't one-shot him, and he's just going to get away, unfortunately. But overall, we're going to win this game in 7 minutes. So all I have to do is stay alive. So I'm not going to bore you with me just running around for the next 7 minutes, but I was using islands to dodge, and I eventually found myself in the A cap to try and finish things off a little bit quicker. The Shimakaze really just kind of hid till the end of the game. So a pretty nuts Mecklenburg game of all things in ranked. I wasn't too hot on this ship when it came out, but as I've played it more, and especially since I've just totally stopped using the HE to try and HE spam farm, the AP's been excellent, and catching broadsides is pretty fun. 16 accurate guns can be very, very nice. As far as the build that I'm running here, it's a bit of a hybrid build. I'm not taking concealment since I'm probably going to be playing a little bit more aggressive in this ship, especially in ranked battles. In randoms, though, it's probably not worth it going for secondaries. So it's just a ship that has to play at medium ranges, especially in random battles, considering how passive things tend to get. But ranked, you can play more aggressive, and that's where this hybrid build can certainly come in handy. As far as the equipment, though, we gotta go main guns, right? We saw how good they can be. Of course, they don't always act that nicely, but when they do, it's always nice to buff those guns as much as possible to get those salvos as many times as we can. So, of course, we're taking accuracy, we're taking main gun reload, and concealment, of course. Since our turret angles are so atrocious, I am taking steering gears as well. So if you don't have the Mecklenburg, it's pretty interesting. I don't know if it's an amazing tier 10 battleship, but in the right circumstances, it's downright terrifying. It just maybe isn't the most versatile or flexible ship in the world, since it has small caliber guns and not a lot of HP. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.